Good morning, Ani, Sego. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for welcoming me. My name is Piper Hayes. I live in East Hamilton. And I heard from Beverly a week or so ago that you were all needing a musician today. So here I am. And it always feels like an honor to play in celebration of labor because we need to honor all these people who are allowing our communities and our societies to function. I wanted to share a book that I've been reading in case any of you might be interested in reading it as well. It's called Essential Labor, Mothering as Social Change by Angela Davies, and you can get it at the library. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book. And it's all about mothering and caregiving. And she uses the term mothering not just for those of us who are physical mothers, but also those of us who care in a mothering capacity. This is my little human, perfect segue. Thank you, Fen. Thank you, honey. I can't pick you up right now, but can we sing? And maybe we can all do some dancing to get ourselves going. The first song I wanted to share is by this amazing person, Aunt Molly Jackson. And a few years ago, I was doing a show for the Workers' Arts Heritage Center, and I was going into some old archives of labor songs. And one of the things I was trying to find is songs by women, and labor songs that we might even know already, that we think might have been written by a man, but maybe is written by a woman. And so anyways, I came across this one. I think it has a lot of power to it. And she's specifically singing about coal miners unions. So the lyric on the chorus is join the CIO. And I invite you, if you're part of a union and you want to say join the QP or join whatever union, the steelworkers, I encourage you, sing along with me and you can sing the exact lyrics or make up your own to make it make sense to you and relevant today. This is Aunt Molly Jackson, join the CIO. I am a union woman, just as brave as I can be. I do not like the bosses, and the bosses don't like me. Join the CIO, oh join the CIO. I was raised in old Kentucky, oh Kentucky, born and bred. When I joined the union, they called me a Russian Red. Join the CIO, oh join the CIO. Let's do that again, just in case you want to try. Join the CIO, oh join the CIO. There'll be a lot of opportunities, so keep sharing those beautiful voices. This is the worst time on earth that I have ever saw, to get killed out by gun thugs and framed up by the law. Join the CIO, oh, join the CIO. Yeah, join the CIO, oh, join the CIO. We are many thousand strong, and I am glad to say, join the dear old CIO and come along this way. Here we go, sing it out. Join the CIO, join the CIO. You wanna join a union, well, as brave as they can be. Join the dear old CIO and come along with me. Join the CIO, oh, join the CIO. That's right. Join the CIO, join the CIO. The bosses ride fine horses while we walk in the mud. The banner is a dollar sign while ours is marred with blood. Join the CIO, come and join the CIO. That's it. Sing it out, join the CIO, oh, join the CIO. A couple more more times. Here we go. Join the CIO. Join the CIO. Anybody here in a union? What union are you in? Okay, you ready? You want to try that? Join the PSACP. Oh, join the PSACP. Did I get it right? Okay. Any other union that we should honor today? Local 1005. Okay, here we go. Join the local 1005. Join the local 1005. Yeah. Any other ones? Which? OCF? OSSPF. Oh, you all heard, I didn't. OSSTF. Okay, well, you all are going to get it right. Here we go. Join the OSTSTF. Join the... Yes, very good. I heard someone say QP. Here we go. Join the QP. Oh, join the QP. I saw another hand. Auto-Sue. OPSU. Join the OPSU. Join the OPSU. Any other ones we need to honor in the room? Which one? IBEW? Okay, here we go. Join the IBW. Join the IBW. I heard one more person yell something out. ACFO. ETFO. Okay, join the ETFO, join the ETFO. All right, one more CIO all together. Join the CIO, oh, join the CIO. One last time a cappella. Join the CIO, join the CIO. Yes, very nice. Thank you so much for playing along with me. I celebrate all of you today, all of the labor that you put into this world. And thank you for having me here today. We're going to have more music and amazing words from Irene.
Sorry, just getting the Zoom box out of the way. I'm going to start even before welcoming you all. I'm going to give you a quick bio of our wonderful guest musician this morning, Piper Hayes. Piper reminds us of why we go to see live music. Her songwriting is free and fiercely personal, as if it's been running in the woods, washing in cold water, and howling with wolves. She is a two-time nominee of the Ontario Arts Council Colleen Peterson Songwriting Award, a somatic voice educator, and an advocate for mental health and social change. Welcome. We're privileged to have you here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We welcome you to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. We welcome you here in the sanctuary and those of you joining us online. I want to remind you that the online folks are muted, and I would ask the people gathered here to please ensure that your devices are turned off or on vibrate. My name is Irene Kay, and I'm this morning's service leader. I want to thank today's service team, which includes, we have another treasure this morning. We have a guest speaker, Jennifer Reed. Our other music ministers this morning, Jess Hootman, Martha Sandeman, and Brian Senner. We also have two celebrity artists who pre-recorded musical offerings for our hymns. Our religious educator, Tim Versteeg, has recorded his story for all ages. Our technical team this morning features Bruce McPherson, Josh McIntyre, Marianne Forbes, and John Elliott. And our ushers this morning are Daphne Payne and Jean Jacobs. Today's service is streaming live from our church in Hamilton on the sacred lands of many peoples. We live upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. As settlers, we continue to benefit from this land and its resources. As settlers, we must ask ourselves how or if we have shared and cared for the earth and its gifts. Facing the truth is hard. Truth must come before reconciliation. We welcome you today, whatever the circumstances of your life, in the many ways we identify as people, and in the diversity of how we love and live. In this house of faith, we are all included as we search for truth, build community, and strive to make the world a better place for all. I will invite our guest speaker, Jen, up to give us our call to worship.
You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Jane Goodall.
Each time we gather, we light a chalice. It reminds us that we are entering sacred space and time together. It reminds us of our connection to Unitarian Universalists all over the world. As Jen lights our chalices, please join me in our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. Thank you, Jen.
As we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, a thousand mill-lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we go marching, marching, we battle to form men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. As we go marching, marching, unnumbered women dead go crying through our singing their ancient call for bread. Small art and love and beauty, their drudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we go marching, marching, we bring the greater days. The rising of the women means the rising of the race. No more the drudge and either tend that toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.
Our story for all ages this morning has Tim recorded it. He's taking a long weekend. I hope he enjoys himself. The story this morning is The Golden Thread, a song for Pete Seeger.
Our is about singer, songwriter, and activist Pete Seeger, who late in life became a member of a Unitarian church in New York City. It's called The Golden Thread, a song for Pete Seeger by Colin Malloy, illustrated by Nikki McClure. I heard there was a golden thread, a shining magic thing, that bound up our little world. I heard Pete Seeger sing. Pete, Pete, what rhymes with Pete? A miner's cleat, a fishing fleet, the sound of many marching feet to hear Pete Seeger sing. Was it a song that I heard sung along a cobbled alley, or from a merry sailing sloop that plied the Hudson River Valley? Hammer bringer, river singer, sailor, soldier, lean bell ringer, a fighter in peace, musician and more. He followed that string till he couldn't no more. But before we get this string a singing, all strings must have their first beginning. Pete was raised by musical hands, the third board member of a family band, playing 12-night stands, all hands, bringing Bach to backwaters, packing sons and daughters in a Model T Ford, with the boys on the boards and a bucket to wash all the diapers. And our Pete grew. He grew and grew 10 stories high, it might seem to you. Let's give him a banjo slung over his shoulder. Let's give him a song. Let's make him a soldier. In World War II, what's a pacifist to do? Armed with a banjo, he followed along to keep soldiers in cheer by singing them songs. A banjo can do more good than a gun, and it's a lot more fun, as there are songs to be sung, and chords to be rung, and voices to be brung round in harmony. Oh, Pete, Pete, when next we meet, we find you on a brimming street. The crowds, they're reaching mountain size, and you're telling folks to organize, unionize, preaching workers' right to picket lines at factories, farms, and copper mines. And speaking of union, by now Pete's a married man. That thread twines round the two right hands of Pete and Toshi Aline Ota. This love song wouldn't reach its quota till years had flown and children grown, who Toshi often raised alone, while Pete rambled far from home. And what to do with golden thread but keep it spinning, hemming it till it's worldwide spread, and that's what Pete did. He took a song called I'll Be All Right that he heard sung for the labor fight, and he changed it around for a new crowd to hum, to proudly announce we shall overcome. This beautiful song, with Pete's humble improvement, became a great anthem for the civil rights movement. But like every God needs its own believers, don't every thread need its own weavers. A bold ensemble to sing and praise. Ronnie, Fred, and the great Lee Hayes, a friend from Pete's old picketing days. They sang out songs both wild and serene. They gave the world its Goodnight Irene, which topped the charts for 25 weeks, a worldwide smash, a #1 peak. But now our story takes a darker turn, like every season must turn, for at this time a Cold War burned, and it seemed that our country had quite lost its way, when fear and oppression began to hold sway. Folks were suspected for things they believed, for the thoughts that they carried, for the threads that they weaved. See, Pete sang for everyone, by day or by night, be they capitalist, communist, on left or on right. Our Pete found himself quite caught up in this mess for not caring a tick about what folks he addressed, or for whom he had sung, and what's all said and done, Pete was then sent to a senator's court, and thereupon angrily asked to report about all his doings and political leanings, and did any of his songs have nefarious meanings. All this just to settle political scores. But Pete, he just said, it's no business of yours, which it wasn't, still isn't. It's our right to free speech without fear of reprisal beyond government reach. Pete was a patriot, was right to resist, but for all of his troubles, he was put on a blacklist. And they blackened his name, and they dampened his flame, and they insisted that everyone look on in shame. But did this stop our hero Pete Seeger? No, he kept playing music, he kept playing songs, he traveled the world with his family along, with his banjo in tow, playing show after show. Pete followed that thread in its long golden glow. But despite these adventures and the places they took him, back in the U.S., they still wouldn't book him on TV or concerts or radio shows. Pete just had to make it all work on his own. His voice kept on ringing in song as long as folks sang right along. And after a time, those voices got louder, stronger and bolder, poetic and vital, with Dylan and Baez, Oakes and Odetta. And Pete was at the forefront. It was a revival, a festival forged on the shores of New England. In Newport, Rhode Island, these folks found a home. And Pete was the plowman on spade and on furrow, and music's sound seedlings found this fertile loam. That thread, his own homespun bed, the thread was a lifeline, a tuneful gift giver, a thing that entwines us, a deep, winding river. A river that bounded the house that he made on the hills of the Highlands in a wide wooded glade, hand-hewn and rough-hewn, timbered and tall. He built with his hands all these high wooded walls, and up in this homestead Pete whiled away times, out chopping old wood and paring up rhymes. But that river, the Hudson, all mired in its glop, who knows what would happen if he just drank a drop? A swimmer should think twice to just take one lap in. Well, Pete, good old Pete, could not let this happen. So he built him a ship, a fine wooden ship, to spread the good word on the Hudson's vile soup. The Clearwater sailed from New York to Beacon, Albany, Annandale, land of the Mohicans. The voices harmonious and joined in a song, folks helped him make that river flow cleanly and strong. All threads have beginnings, so they must have their ends, and just like a river in its bows and its bends, as it starts in the mountains and flows to the sea, it spreads the world over when it finally breaks free. Pete's thread stretched long, it bridged generations through depressions, recessions, and high celebrations. He followed it doggedly, and with all of his heart he wove it and drove it into his own art. Now Pete is beyond us. He's passed on away, but his legacy still surrounds us today, in music, in rivers, in organization, a hero to all in this young, mighty nation. Oh, I heard there was a golden thread, a shining magic thing, that bounded up our little imperfect world. I heard Pete Seeger sing. That's the end of our story.
As we sing our children out this morning, they're going to be meeting Tanya Collins, Elizabeth Beckett, and Barb Wallace at the doors to go to their activities. Do we have children this morning? Okay, join me, will you? As you go, may love surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. Our offering is a reminder of the spirit of generosity that is at the heart of our religious community. When we share our financial resources, we ensure the continued existence of our church. We will now receive our offering while we listen to our music minister, who's attending to her maternal duties for a minute. I thought Piper was going to be live. Oh, okay. Well, I'd offer to sing for you for a few minutes, but but I don't have a very strong voice. All right, the offering is going around without any music, so please be generous. have a musical interlude when Piper returns. Your gifts in support of our ministries to one another and to the community are appreciated. Thank you. Now it's time for our few moments of meditation, contemplation, introspection. And I would invite you to relax, close your eyes if you like, and breathe deeply. Following our reading, there will be a few moments of silence, followed by music. This morning's reading is New Acts of Courage, written by Frank O. Holmes. Life does not call us merely to do over and over again what we have already done, nor does it call on us to act out as puppets, parts already assigned to us. No. In the midst of a situation which is itself ever-changing, we are free to bring into realization new relationships of understanding and goodwill and new acts of courage.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the body, gathered in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the distance of the body, gathered here in the spots of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the distance of the body, gathered here in the spots of the body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, Spirit, draw near.
Piper, would you like to play the piece that you were going to play us? We'd love to hear it. Born to Fight.
So humid today that our instruments like to move around on us. I'm actually going to play this song that my partner and I wrote, and I'm going to close it out with Tracy Chapman later. But this song is called Dear 1%, because, you know, our understanding of labor in a colonial capitalist world is very different than an understanding of labor within kinship networks or what we would know as indigenous knowledge in communities and Black communities and communities that have been practicing labor of care within one another. But all of that, you know, we live in this world where labor is capitalized and exploited. And I follow this amazing Instagram, and it's called the Day Labor Network. And one of the things that they are big proponents of is smashing this idea of unskilled labor. The idea that there is unskilled labor is a total myth. And I think one of my favorite videos, I mean, they've got all these amazing videos of all these laborers, a lot of migrant workers doing farm work and doing things that I couldn't even do once, you know, and they're doing it like 100 times. I saw this one video that they posted, and it was somebody filling little tiny ramekins with ketchup. And it was this massive box of ketchup, and they were going like, tick, 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 and they didn't spill a drop. I'm just like, I don't even know. I'm lost for words. Talk about skills. So with that in mind, this song is called Dear 1% because we know that 0.01% of the world resources are held and controlled and dominated by that tiny, tiny percentage of people. And so I think today when we talk about labor, we must talk about how are we going to change that? How are we going to find solidarity within one another and recognize that within systems of class, we are closer to each other and we can find ways to mutually aid our lives. So this song's called Dear 1%. You got one product for your skin and another for your hair. Oh, this culture keeps us locked up, tells us to keep ourselves bare. I won't fall for any of that, no, I'll no longer get mine. I'll reclaim my body because it's always been mine. Oh, you can keep your poison produce, you can keep it on the shelf. We designed a system designed to deconstruct our health. I've seen the local farmer forced to sell off all his land, while consumer dollars goes to factories on foreign sand. I'm gonna spend all my money on myself, make my purchase power spread the wealth. And if you go to the doctor, well, they'll prescribe you with a pill. We buy into a system relying on keeping us all ill. Social perception says that medicine ain't drugs, but corporate pushers are much worse than who they call street thugs. I'm gonna spend all my money on myself, make my purchase power spread the wealth. Corporate crime ain't recognized, it don't even go to trial. Greased money makes the system clean while the politicians smile. Meanwhile, on the other side, a mother and her child can't afford to eat tonight while the bloated dine in style. I'm gonna spend all my money on myself, make my purchase power spread the wealth. We don't want to slow down, we don't want to look back, but you're living the same way, dreaming the same dreams, stuck in the past. So let's spend all our money on ourselves, make our purchase power spread the wealth. So I know you have a bunch of beautiful voices, and if you want to try that chorus, it's let's spend all our money on ourselves, make our purchase power spread the wealth. Here we go. Let's spend all our money on ourselves, yeah, make our purchase power spread the wealth. One more time. Spend all our money on ourselves, make our purchase power spread the wealth. Oh yeah, you are amazing. Big round of applause for all of you. Thank you very much.
Our guest speaker this morning is Jennifer Reed. A lot of you know her. She's a lifelong UU. But for those of you who don't, here's a brief biography. Jen Reed started attending the Unitarian Church when she was 2 years old. The building was in a house at 268 Aberdeen Avenue, and every week she and her older sister, Susanna, and younger brother David attended with her parents, Brian and Margaret. The values she learned at church, that of compassion, critical thought, and integrity, have influenced her life. Jen is the mother of John, Cameron, and Owen, who she is raising in a corner of Dundas with her partner Steve and their dad Jeff. She teaches grade 3 and 4 at Tecumseh Public School in Burlington and spends a great deal of her spare time working as an activist with Halton ETFO Local. Welcome, Jen, and Jen will give her a homily this morning.
Thank you. And thanks to Piper, I can't think of a better way to start my homily than a critique of the 1%. Hello. It's wonderful to be here. Happy Sunday. I am an elementary school teacher, and as such am coming to the end of a pretty glorious time in the year of my profession, summer. 2 months off every year to rest, travel, learn, and to spend time at Unicamp. I have a few friends who tease me a bit about the amount of time off teachers get. We do have a schedule that is enviable in many ways. One that includes 2 months off after an intense 10 months of emotional, academic, and bureaucratic work with children. By the end of June, teachers are bedraggled and worn out. If the year went well, I have a bittersweet sadness about saying goodbye to my students, despite outrageous enthusiasm about the upcoming time off. If the year did not go well, I am hanging on with my fingernails, desperately counting the days until they are no longer my responsibility. At the end of August, I start to gear up again. I head into my classroom to set up the desks, organize materials, and plan out my first week community building activities. Public school in Canada officially starts the day after Labor Day, a day on which I experience a range of emotions, sad that summer is over, anxious about the year ahead, and excited to meet my new students. However, Labor Day for me is also much more than that, than the day before school begins. Labor Day has a rich history that we must both celebrate as well as view through a critical lens. As a union member and activist with the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario, or ETFO, I participate yearly in the annual general meeting. This year's AGM was held in Toronto in August from the 15th through the 18th. 668 members from across Ontario met to debate, discuss, and decide on issues not only pertaining to public health, but also issues to do with social justice. As you can imagine, with any meeting of almost 700 people, the motions and proceedings were at times boring and at times frustrating. However, the flip side of that 700 people coin is that when a progressive motion is passed, it is tremendously exciting. One of the motions that was brought forth was developed by Halton ETFO's Political Action and Public Relations Committee, a committee that I co-chair with my friend Leanne. The resolution states that ETFO lobby the Ministry of Education through the OTF, the Ontario Teachers Federation, to include climate change in the curriculum at every grade level. After some discussion on the floor, to my jubilation and excitement, the motion passed. Now, I share this story for a few reasons. The first is that it's a fairly recent event, and I'm pretty excited that after several years of putting in resolutions about climate change, one finally passed. The second illustrates how unions can play a critical role in social justice movements. I became involved in the teachers' union in large part because I am extremely concerned about climate change. Before I became involved with my union, I was very involved with EcoSchools, a fantastic organization that facilitates environmental activism at the school level. Kids are involved with various environmental actions such as composting, the monitoring of lights, and the picking up of garbage, and teachers embed the environment in their lessons. Campaigns are developed and implemented. It's a great program, and I enjoyed my years of involvement. However, I started to become frustrated with the somewhat limited scale of EcoSchools and therefore impact. Despite the fact that I was at a school with over 1,200 kids and the eco team was pretty sizable, I realized there was only so much I could accomplish. Becoming involved with the union was a logical next step, for its size meant that any conversation or activism about climate change at either the local or provincial level meant that I had a larger audience. The number of people who are involved is one that is immediately recognizable, valuable aspect of being part of the union movement. The opportunity to withdraw labor in a capitalist system gives workers, when they act together, a collective power. And when this strength is harnessed to bargain collectively, working conditions, health and safety, wages, benefits, all improve. We see this understanding of solidarity first arrive in the 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. The shift in how goods were produced from small production facilities, whether it be mills, farms, or weaving, to one that is based on large manufacturing and industrial capitalism led to the emergence of a working class with a new economic system in which people earned their living through wages. Small unions began to organize in the early 1800s as a response to harsh and unsafe working conditions and long working days, often up to 12 hours long. The industrialists held great influence, and these unions were often declared illegal. By the mid-1800s, unions in Canada were both influenced by and connected with the broader trade union movement in Britain and the United States. In Canada, a struggle emerged in 1872 around the fight for a shorter work week. The Toronto Typographical Union demanded a 9-hour workday from their employers, newspaper publishers, who refused. On March 25th, workers walked off the job. Despite the fact that replacement workers were hired by the publishers, they had widespread support from other workers, which was demonstrated by a march of 2,000 people on April 14th, and a subsequent rally of 10,000 supporters at Queen's Park on April 15th. Unions at this point were illegal, and the strike committee was arrested. However, this issue, the right to a shorter workday and week, energized the union movement in Canada. Prime Minister MacDonald, influenced by the support for the strike and recognizing the political benefit of siding with workers, legalized trade unions with the Trade Union Act, and the strike leaders were released from jail. Labor Day's origins are rooted in this time period. Influenced by the American Federation of Labor, the first Monday in September was identified as a day to celebrate workers and unions with parades, speeches, games, and picnics. The day increased in popularity, and a number of unions from across Canada lobbied the federal government to make this an official statutory holiday, which it did on July 23, 1894. For almost 130 years now, Labor Day has been both a time to celebrate and a day to demonstrate working class solidarity. It is important to recognize, though, the time period from which it emerged and the number of significant groups in society that were excluded. For example, the Victorian era was particularly patriarchal. Women were sidelined from the political process. They could not own property, vote, run for office, initiate a divorce, or initially join a union. Furthermore, Labor Day highlighted unionized workers. Non-unionized workers were excluded from Labor Day, and subsequently, Black, Indigenous, and people of color who worked in this area were as well. However, part of the tremendous value of unions is that of solidarity. The idea that we have all united together with a common goal, we can achieve more. Unions play a vital role in protecting the rights of their members and also in advancing issues that benefit all of society. Because members in unions bargain collectively, everyone benefits the same. If we look at the history of unions in Canada through the 20th century, we can see this time and again. You may have heard of the Winnipeg General Strike, the largest strike in Canadian history. 30,000 workers from a range of trade unions walked off the job on May 15, 1919, demanding improved wages, working conditions, and the right to bargain collectively. We actually have a little clip right now from a Heritage Minute illustrating the Winnipeg General Strike.
All right, so welcome to the strike tour, everyone.
A walk through time. Sabrina Janke is bringing a turbulent chapter of Winnipeg's past to life.
And then what happened in Winnipeg throughout those 6 long weeks.
A walking tour reliving the drama and tension of the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike.
By 11 a.m., everything in Winnipeg had stopped. Over 30,000 men, women, and children walked off their jobs that day.
It was basically a revolt over poor wages and working conditions. In the post-First World War economy, tensions were high across Canada as returning soldiers struggled to find work. In Winnipeg, it came to a boil. Ethnic tension undercut it all, as Eastern European immigrants were accused of stealing jobs and plotting a socialist revolution. It shut down the city for 6 weeks until Bloody Saturday, a riot that left 2 men dead.
So, how interested are people in this right now, given it's a centennial?
Actually a lot. We've been booking since January, which is very exciting. People will really want to learn more.
Welcome to the Ukrainian Labor Temple.
This is the last remaining building where workers in 1919 met to organize.
Workers did not get the gains that they had hoped, but they laid a foundation.
Manitoba Labour Federation President Kevin Rebeck says many of the issues they discussed here still resonate. Tensions over migration, governments hostile to labor, and a struggling middle class.
The idea that if you worked full-time, you shouldn't live in poverty, and that continues to be a call to action that we have today.
A little 1919 spirit yesterday. Winnipeg bus drivers who have been without a contract staged a one-day job action not enforcing payment of fares.
The building behind us is an old warehouse from 1900.
Over a century, a lot has changed in both Winnipeg's downtown and for Canadian workers. Along the tour,
So we're gonna loop down.
comparisons between then and now are hard to miss.
Actually, I think there's remnants of stuff like this happening today.
The gap in wealth is still very striking to me. Not just here, but all over the world.
When the strike hit, Winnipeg was in decline. That continued long after. Contentious and divisive, many were happy to see it largely fade into history without much of a public memorial.
We're here to talk about Bloody Saturday.
That will change next month, with the unveiling of a monument based on this image of the Bloody Saturday riot.
I think if anyone knows anything about the strike, it's that photo of the streetcar being tipped over.
On her walks, Janky says she believes 1919 is being seen in a new light.
I haven't heard a whole lot of, I can't believe they did this. It's normally like, good for Winnipeg, way to go.
Striking a legacy 100 years on. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As you may have heard from that clip, it was unsuccessful and resulted in 2 deaths and economic hardship for many of the participants. But there were some very positive aspects of it. Women were at the forefront of the strike, among the first to walk off the job. It united all workers, be they Canadian-born or immigrants, in the city around common goals. The strike led to the establishment of a minimum wage and the formation of the CCF, which is today the NDP. The strike also led to a series of labor law reforms, and it was the foundation of the modern labor movement in Canada, and with it a stronger social safety net. Important outcomes influenced by these workers' efforts included legislation for overtime pay, workplace health and safety standards, maternity and parental leave, vacation pay, and protection from discrimination and harassment. In fact, many of the rights and benefits workers fought for are rights that everyone in society has today. I'm not saying unions are without flaws, and of course each union has its own culture and approach, and hence I cannot speak to how they deal with issues to do with systemic racism and sexism. However, I do know that in EPFO, both at the provincial and local level, I can continue to develop my leadership skills. At various levels of leadership, spots at the executive table are provided for women, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and LGBTQ+. We use an anti-oppressive framework to understand how systems of oppression result in discriminatory actions against certain groups in society. EPFO is a union committed to social justice, equity, and inclusion, and has a multi-year strategy on anti-Black racism, LGBTQ+ education, and First Nations, Métis, and Inuit issues. Sometimes it is shared that unions aren't as relevant as they used to be, or have as much impact, or in that a gig and service-based economy they aren't necessary. I feel that unions are more important than ever. In a politically fractured world with the far-right organizing, climate crisis ever present, poverty, war, and inequity, we need places where solidarity can be expressed and practiced, progressive ideas discussed, and social justice gains implemented. The union movement provides a place where this can be achieved. There was a recent TikTok video, we weren't able to share it here today, but it shows workers at a Starbucks in Tonawanda, New York, where a 13-year employee, they'd been working there for 13 years and was a union leader, was unjustly fired. All of the employees in that Starbucks walked out in solidarity. And that TikTok clip has been watched more than 4.7 million times. Or the Amazon Labor Union, which you may have heard about, organized in April 2021 as a place for Amazon workers to put power back in the hands of Amazon workers and establish our right to negotiate for a better, safer, and more equitable workplace. These examples are why I see the union movement as a place to organize around climate change. The typographical workers, Winnipeg General Strike, Starbucks, and Amazon workers all demonstrate the type of solidarity I feel is necessary to create real change. Climate change is a health and safety issue and should be part of bargaining. Solidarity within and across unions can provide the push necessary for huge change. As a Unitarian, I bring all the principles into my union activism and draw on them whenever it is unclear what direction or path to take. As the world careens forward into a hopeful yet uncertain future, the alliance of faith groups, community activism and anti-racist groups, and labor will lead the way. Thank you. So the benediction is sort of a newer verses for Solidarity Forever by Steve Suffett. So I'll read it, I'm not going to sing it. They say our day is over, they say our time is through. They say you need no union if your collar isn't blue. Well, that is just another lie the boss is telling you, for the union makes us strong. They divide us by a color, they divide us by our tongue, they divide us men and women, they divide us old and young. But they'll tremble at our voices when they hear these verses sung, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity.
We're ready for the postlude whenever you are. Oh, a babe in arms sleeping away. Oh. Not quite sleeping.
No, you want to sleep. It's real life. Here you are today getting to witness me labor as a musician as well as a mother. And I thank you for that. I thank you for holding that space for community in these ways. Just before we started today, Beverly and I were having a conversation about how you are working to foster family and intergenerational relationality here in this space. And so it always feels like such a gift as a parent or a caregiver to come into a space like this where there's an effort to create inclusion and accessibility to all kinds of people with all kinds of different needs. And so right on for that work. Keep it up. This song that I'm going to share is a Tracy Chapman song, and it's called Born to Fight. And so I'm hoping it leaves you today with that little fire in you to keep up all of the work that you're doing and to lift up the other voices that are doing this work, to talk about labor, talk about who's on the front lines, talk about Indigenous sovereignty and land back and Black Lives Matter. Because this, I think also, all of these movements are going to allow us to keep moving forward as humans on this planet, and not only human life, but the other life that is in crisis right now because of how we live. So this song's called Born to Fight, and Tracy Chapman, if you don't know her, although I hope a lot of you do, is an incredible songwriter, vocalist, and guitar player. Boy, can she play the guitar. And I wanted to honor her because she is a Black voice and she's a woman and she's been up against so much. And while this song is specific to some of her identity, I wanted to share some of her voice and this reminder of persevering and showing up for each other. So the chorus, you might pick it up. It's, I was born to fight. I ain't been knocked down yet. I'm born to fight. I'm the surest bet. Ain't no man, no woman alive. Ain't no man, no woman, no beast alive can beat me. I'm born to fight. So if you want to join on that at any point and you just want to sing out, I'm born to fight, I totally am in solidarity with that. So here we go. Try to take away my pride, stripping me of everything I own. Try to hurt me inside, make me into a white man's drone. Oh no, this is not for sale. I was born to fight, yeah. Said I ain't been knocked down yet. I was born to fight, yeah. Said I'm the surest bet. 'Cause ain't no man, no woman, no beast alive can beat me. 'Cause I was born to fight. They try to take away my soul, ridding me of the spirit of my God. Try to take control, monitor my every thought. Oh no, I want it down my guard. Here we go. I was born to fight, yeah. Said I ain't been knocked down yet. I was born to fight, yeah. Honey, I'm the the surest bet. 'Cause ain't no man, no woman, no beast alive can beat me. 'Cause I was born to fight. They try to take away my pride, stripping me of everything I own. They're trying to hurt me inside, make me into a white man's drone. Oh no, this is not for sale. I was born to fight, yeah. Said I ain't been knocked down yet. I was born to fight, yeah. Alright, say I'm the surest bet. 'Cause ain't no man, no woman, no beast alive can beat me. 'Cause I was born to fight. One more time, I was born to fight, yeah. Said I ain't been knocked down yet. I was born to fight, yeah. Honey, I'm your surest bet. 'Cause ain't no man, no woman, no beast alive can beat me. 'Cause I was born to fight, born to fight. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for singing. Thank you.